kind of um, moved to Dubai to cover the MENA region to for training companies and scoping companies and scoping training requirements for different companies in different industries. I was also a researcher in Leeds University while I was doing my research there. I was a lecturer for many years. I was a consultant, disaster recovery, Oracle consultant for a few years, database management. So I've got a kind of expertise in different industries, different areas in cloud and non-cloud technologies. So kind of being a lecturer in university, and then I've got my expertise in industry. That what brought me into being a trainer. So being brought kind of the two areas under one hat. So that's a little bit about myself. Let's start talking about digital transformation. Before we introduce that, innovation. So when we talk about innovation for any kind of new technology, it comes into waves. Um, so innovation, many technologies, you will never see something coming in a linear fashion. It actually comes into waves. So when you introduce a new technology, that also enables many other technology as a back of it. And we've seen this over the years. We could talk about, for example, the printing press. So the printing press itself, that's a really good example. This is like an innovation that came many years ago. And at the back of the printing press, where people stopped like writing with pen, distributing things with typewriter and things like that. So that opened up other technologies at the back of it. So now with the printing press, you are able to print books, you are able to print encyclopedias, newspapers, newsletters. So printing press is one of those examples. And one of the reasons I want to talk about the printing press, it's actually a great example of when we talk about innovation wave, those innovations that are really transformative. So and what is actually unique about them, it's basically they have an impact on the side of it. So you have kind of a new technology dramatically improves productivity and improves the supply. And at the back of that, you will see an increase in the demand. So that will drive the economic cycle, the economic production and things like that. So you can see that with printing press, with the printing information, we can see also we're going to introduce cloud technology today as well. What comes at the back of that, and that's an important element of a transformative, what we call transformative innovation, because one of the most important aspects of it, it's irreversible. So you would never find somebody going back and not using the printing press, going back doing things the traditional way. So it's a one-way traffic as a and this what basically provides continuous supply and also contributes to the demand and opens up different industries at the back of it. So that's the supply increases, the demand increases with it. And this what brings me to talk about something that is significant, which is what we call a paradigm shift. And this is what I mentioned, the fundamental irreversible change. So this demand and supply chain thing that is going on, it causes a paradigm shift. So people are not going to be doing the same thing again as they used to be. And what we mean by that is that there is a fundamental change in how we do things, and it's irreversible. So you just can't go back. We're just moving forward with that technology. So once the printing press came out, we are able to print information, whatever that kind of information that we have. And it really changed how people communicated with each other. And the mindset completely changed and opened up new ideas for different industries. So it really changed a lot of things. And also at the back of that, like I said, it introduced a new industries as well. And again, why this is relevant to what we're going to be talking about when we start talking about cloud, because cloud technology is a new paradigm shift. So we are thinking about this because we are in the middle of a new kind of innovative transformation. This whole cloud innovation that we've been hearing for a few years now, and some are already in that journey. Some of them are embarking in it. Some people are still thinking about it. And it's all revolves around data, data science, transformation in the cloud that is going on. And that's really impacting how we create value, how businesses create value from data, the way people work. And we see that with many, many tools, with many, many different cloud providers, how people are communicating through the phones, through their email, through so pretty much everything has changed. So, and also the way that we are living our lives has been impacted significantly with these tools in the cloud. And I'm sure everybody is thinking about something that has changed their life dramatically using kind of some tools in the cloud. So now, before we give a formal definition here, how would we define this term, digital transformation? So, um, this is what it means. So, digital transformation is when an organization takes advantage of new technologies. The main one, obviously, it's the cloud and the tools that are available in there to basically redesign relationships with their customers, employees, their business partners. And the way that they define those relationships is by doing things differently, doing it better, doing it efficiently, and with speed and efficiency. And speed, we will see a lot of the tools that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. We will talk about different ways how this can happen. And some of you heard of this term burning platform effect. So, as we mentioned, one of the keywords about that is the change, the mindset. And some of us may have heard the term burning platform, or another term that we hear, taking that leap of faith, the leap of faith. So where we jump, we leave the old technology behind, and we jump and we use the new technology and the tools that are brought with it. And that's really important. And I think one of the biggest risks that customers and companies can take today is not taking that step forward, not taking that leap of faith. Um, and if they don't, they're going to be left behind, if not crashed completely from in their relevant industry. So I'm not redefining how their relationships are, how they do the business, how they communicate with their customers, how they run the different processes in their business in a better way, in an efficient way, with the new technologies. And if they don't do that, they get left behind pretty much. So many industries has been disrupted by new technology, not just specifically about the cloud. But if we take, for example, um, the printing press, if you take the encyclopedias, let's take a look at an example of an industry disrupted by these waves of innovation. The industry of the encyclopedias, for example, here we can see 1768, a very famous encyclopedia called Britannica, was once, believe it or not, hundred or multi hundred like $100 million business at that time. So if you are old enough, you probably have seen one of those in some kind of libraries or at home or something like that. Very rare now to see one of these. And then, because when technology was invented a few years later in the early 90s, this is what Encarta came about. Encarta, Microsoft Encarta. I don't know if you guys remember this. If some of you have, lived that. Basically, have like CD-ROMs where researchers will be able to search any topic. So you bring a CD-ROM and you search a topic, and all the information is there. So you're no longer relying on this big encyclopedias to look for information. And then only then we also disrupted the arrival of later on online Wikipedias, which is an open platform, which is the most extensive one available online, in online encyclopedia pretty much. And in terms of accuracy, despite being open source and despite being an open platform, is actually more accurate than the traditional encyclopedias. And then if you look at this kind of transition going through these different innovations, like you can see like the waves that are happening here, because Britannica hasn't moved with these innovations, they completely been left behind, and because they missed that idea of embarking or embracing a new technologies. Nintendo is another example. of the other side. So Encyclopedia Britannica, they didn't basically involve in that. Another big company that basically moved with these waves is Nintendo. Nintendo started 1889 with the Hanafuda cards at that time. Basically, they are printing playing cards, very famous in Japan for that game, and they kept innovating with the technology as a new wave came about. 1990s, the consoles came about. Nintendo were there again, and then they are everywhere. 2017, augmented reality and things like that. So gaming, mobile phones, whatever kind of devices that are available, you will find Nintendo. Basically, they are true to their value pretty much with the technology and keeping their customers happy. So they are still competitive in the market as well. Other examples like Blockbuster, they used to sell physical tapes, discs, movies. Nowadays nobody hears of Blockbusters. Netflix also started with a postal service of sending physical tapes to people, and they understood at one point that there was going to be uh, a new innovation. So they were talking about streaming. So they move and change their business model into a streaming business. And I think when COVID hits, uh, you you know they're kind of moving into that direction, making that decision. I think they had kind of like doubled or tripled. I can't remember the numbers. Their business revenue pretty much. So again, Netflix understood that there wasn't a big move and see the using the right medium, the right technology to transform their business in order to keep on doing what they do, just in the most logical way, embracing that new technology, moving with the waves of the technology that came about. And then that's Netflix. And then you have obviously for the taxi industry, Uber came about, disrupted the taxi industry upside down pretty much. Um, and we hear now about the self-driving cars and things like that. So again, there's many examples into that. There are other examples, for example, not necessarily moving with something, but taking the opportunity for industry that didn't embrace that. If I take a really good example that comes to mind, the hotel industry. So the hotel industry, they were, how do I say it, how to put it into words, the resisting kind of moving into the wave of digital transformation. And what happens then, the thinking that I will have my customers, they will have to come to the hotel and book the rooms and things like that. And guess what? What happens is booking.com came about, slotted themselves in between that industry and the customers, and they were asking for the share of the revenue from the hotel industry without having any hotels themselves. So just with a digital presence, and they were able to have like 20, 30% of the revenue of the hotel industry there. So, so we introduced a couple of terms already. So digital representation and things. So what is the cloud, and how does it help us in kind of as a technology, as a way that we need to embrace to change how we business run and how it's competitive in the market? So here's the cloud. This is the formal definition we have here. The cloud is a metaphor of the network of data centers that store and compute information available through the internet. So there's actually cloud is not this white puffy thing that we see in the sky. There is actually some kind of infrastructure there. So big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they've got big data centers across the globe where they provide services for their customers to do their system, to do their cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? Again, we want to talk about another term here that people use, the term of cloud computing. So it refers to the technology and processes needed to store, manage, and process and access the data that is transferred over these infrastructure that these big companies they're providing that we call cloud. So we want to. So if you see here, it all revolves about the data, the value of data that we want. And then again, the infrastructure, again, digital transformation, people might think, okay, why do I need to use the cloud to do digital transformation? I want to optimize and make my processes efficient with compute power of servers and things. It's because it does require a lot of investment. Infrastructure costs increase as traditional organizations grow. So the more you need, if you need one application, you need to buy a server, you need to buy routers, you need to buy a lot of hardware. There's a lot of upfront investment that you need to do before even you think. If you think about a new idea, for example, First of all, you would the headache that comes with it is what is the infrastructure? What is the cost that comes with it? What happens if it doesn't work, right? So, and this is what the infrastructure cost is going to be like, um, kind of a bottleneck for this innovative ideas that you might have for your business, for example. Whereas in the cloud, you don't have to do any upfront investment. The resources are in there. It's a pay as you go process. All these kind of data centers distributed across the globe. You're not thinking, okay, I'm having this amazing idea that I want to target customers in Europe, for example. What happened if you have like a shift in the or like a growth in your business and you want to cover the US? Are you going to be building another data center in the US, or are you going to be going there and renting some kind of building to have your infrastructure there in there? So this is what the cloud gives you. The cloud is already, the infrastructure is there, it's been optimized. So if you want to scale in different areas, you don't have to invest. The investment is already there. It's a pay as you go. You brought in an idea, been fantastic. Fair enough. It didn't work. I shut down those services. I didn't pretty much um, invest anything. I didn't have any wastage in terms of the idea didn't work. All that investment I've done is a waste. In terms of the cloud, I'm going to put it in the cloud. Didn't work. Shut down the service. I'm not paying for those anymore. I didn't pay thousands of dollars to build that before it happens. And this is basically how the cloud is changing things. The cloud technology is changing the way we do business from the traditional setup. So that bottleneck that I have to do capacity planning, I have to think, I need to calculate the risk that comes with the new ideas or changing the process that I want to do, formalize it, digitize it. That's gone out of the equation, which means time to bring in a new idea or transform a business process, it's gone. Okay, I can go straight away and run it in there. So we see that the cloud is actually very efficient, revolutionized in everything that we do, changing the mindset completely. So it's fundamentally forcing us to rethink and reimagine how we run our business, and this leads into what we refer to the digital transformation. And with that, I would like to introduce something that I'm familiar with. As an example, as a sample of what can the cloud give us into that digital transformation journey that we might embark to, which is the Google Cloud Platform. Now, I'm just taking this as an example. I'm not saying that Google Cloud is the best out of the cloud provider out there. I don't want to be kind of leaning towards my expertise here or whatever or whoever one I'm working on. But each cloud provider has got its own strength. Then, other than other things, I'm going to talk about a few things of the Google Cloud Platform. So first of all, the product range, a massive product range here in terms of what you want to do. And remember, there's like a really kind of motto that we use: Google meets you where you are. So whatever your requirements are from data perspective, networking, security, whatever the case might be, you will find a service that is suitable for you in there. Integration, also close integration with the resources over APIs, making it easy to, if you are on premises and you are in the journey of moving into the cloud or having application into on-premises, talking to application in the cloud, API integration is there. It's a global. There is data centers across the globe available. So wherever you are, you have a platform where all the resources are available in basically any continent across the globe. I think there is 35 regions now, 35 geographical locations where they will have data centers in there across the globe. Performance from networking perspective, Google, they own their own network. They build their network so super fast. Security, obviously, every cloud provider, they have to go through auditing, so they have to satisfy security requirements and things. So they are being audited, so they satisfy a lot of this compliance from security perspective. And the ecosystem, part of the broader Google ecosystem. So Google, you might know that they run probably about 10 application services to their consumers. Each one of them has got about 1 billion users. Okay. So they have a massive infrastructure, solid, robust, that they run the things like the Google search, the Google, the Gmail, the YouTube, all those kind of stuff. They are running on the super uh, fast and reliable, secure infrastructure. And the good news is that Google Cloud that are provided that we can use those tools run on the very same infrastructure that these systems run on top of. So what kind of service we have in here? So a wide range, as you can see here. You have compute, you have storage, big data, artificial intelligence. So this is what I was saying earlier in terms of um Google will meet you where you are, and the mindset is completely different. So if I want to run my application, for example, on a virtual machine on a server, I don't have to overthink things. Okay, to see, okay, do I have a host that have got capacity to create VMs, or do I need to buy new servers? You've got a service called Compute Engine where you can just click a couple of buttons. You select, like we're going to see, we're going to select the capacity, the CPU, memory, disk, and within seconds, you will have a virtual machine. You might be in Egypt and you want to run a server in the US. No problem. You have a console, you go in, you click a couple of buttons. Now your server is in the US, close to your end users. Probably you're running whatever, an online store, selling stuff in the US, no problem whatsoever. You are already into the journey of kind of microservices. So you no longer you are more innovative than the traditional way of doing things. Got Kubernetes engine to run containers. If you are a developer and you don't even care about running infrastructure, there is a platform as a service called App Engine, which means I can just write my code. I don't care about the server, the capacity, and the patching and the scaling of that. I want just to deploy it to App Engine. The rest is basically taken care for me by the service in there. There's also all the serverless products like Cloud Functions I'm going to mention, Cloud Run. From storage perspective, whatever data type you have, there is a service available for you in there. Relational databases, SQL, NoSQL, um, blob storage. So there's things there that you can leverage. And then when it comes to big data, and this is where Google differentiate themselves from the competition, is big data tools and machine learning tools that are available. So Google have been doing big data and machine learning for a couple of decades. The data center they built, they're actually optimized for big data and machine learning. So if you want, by all means, you can go on-prem and buy so much soft kind of storage, compute power to run big data and do that kind of stuff. But it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to take you a long time to optimize it to do big data. Now, these data centers, they pretty much Google have gone through those pains and optimized all their data centers to do big data and machine learning. And the tools they use to run this 1 billion user application they made them available as managed tools for on Google Cloud Platform, like BigQuery, Data Warehouse, PubSub, and Messaging Bus, Dataflow. It's an ETL tool. Data transformation, Dataproc is Hadoop, if you're familiar with Hadoop, so you don't have to run your Hadoop cluster anymore. It's managed for you. And again, there is different ways to do machine learning this way. So Google what trying to do, they try to democratize machine learning and big data. So to let things like data scientists, data analysts just focus on getting value from data, give you the tool, and it's a pay as you go. You don't have to think about how much storage I'm going to need, how much CPU I'm going to need, what is the performance I need to optimize. That's all the kind of stuff is taken care for you. So again, for the compute, from the compute part, which sits on a software-defined networking. So the networking is another piece that a lot of kind of overhead that is being taken care of by in the cloud. So you don't have to buy routers, router appliances, firewall appliances, configure them, think about resiliency, high availability. So that's all taken care for you. It's all software defined. You just create a network in a couple of minutes, and where you want the resources, which regions, which data centers across the globe you want. And then you start using these compute services. App Engine, like I said, it's a platform for developers to just deploy the code. Compute Engine is just like virtual machines in the cloud. A couple of buttons, you have your server, you have complete control over what you want to run in there, what operating system you want. And another one massive kind of what we call sorry, innovation that Google came about is Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is another open source framework that technology started by Google. It's a beast of the product. So when you started working with containers, containerizing using microservices, very easy to work with a couple of containers, deploy an application into container, super fast, really, really innovative and efficient way to do things. When you start to scale and you start using multiple, you break in your monolith application into small pieces, putting them into containers, you end up into tens, hundreds, thousands of these containers to run. Just to give you an idea why Kubernetes came about. These days, Google, they run around 4 billion containers a week. So it's insane. It's impossible for somebody just to go in on a command line, running these containers or with a command line. So what they came about with this idea of an orchestration tool called Kubernetes, which is a cluster of servers. One of them is a master node, and the master node will have a lot of things. It's very, very complex thing. By all means, you can create your own cluster. It's going to take you days. It's going to require a lot of expertise in order to create a Kubernetes cluster. So what by Google, they take another step forward and they created a managed service for that. So you no longer have to create the master node yourself. So when we say Google Kubernetes Engine, this is a product that is managed for you by Google. Okay, so couple of buttons, the master node, all the components in there, they're configured by the service for you, and you just need to deploy your containers and let GKE manage those containers for you. And then there is serverless products. So if you don't like creating a virtual machine and install your code in there and install your operating system, you don't want to create a Kubernetes cluster, even if it's managed for you and select CPU and memory and things like that. There is completely serverless products. App Engine is one of them. App Engine is actually the very first product that Google Cloud has provided as a cloud provider. So they came up with this idea of serverless to give like new businesses, startups, the confidence to bring the idea forward without having a risk in terms of how much it's going to cost me. Because the idea behind it is you deploy your code in there, everything is managed for you, and it scales down to zero, which means if nobody is using this kind of your application, okay, you're not paying nothing. You basically zero pay. And a couple of examples that companies that use that. One of them is Snapchat. Snapchat, they run $1 billion business on App Engine. Okay, so that Snapchat it runs on App Engine. Okay, on Google Cloud. The other one is there's a gaming company that started 2006, Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was another example that they took this offer of an App Engine and another database called Firestorm, which work in the same concept that it scales down to zero. So you deploy your database, you deploy your code. If nobody is using your application database, you're paying for nothing. So it just hibernates. As soon as people started using that, you'll be charged for those resources, which makes a lot of sense to them. They didn't know if Pokemon Go is going to be like a good example or a success. But within 3 days, Pokemon Go, like the user base at that time, within 3 days they will have the same number of users as Twitter at that time. So massive, massive scale. They didn't have to worry about anything. It will scale up and down for them automatically. Now we talked about GKE briefly, which is you create a cluster and the master node will be managed for you, and you select CPU memory, how many VMs or how many nodes, worker nodes you want in your cluster. Cloud Run, you can run containers, but it's completely serverless. You don't have even to create a cluster there. You just have your container, deploy it to Cloud Run, and Cloud Run will again similar to App Engine will scale up and down. It's invocable via HTTP request, things like that. So if it's not used, you're not paying nothing. So it's a pay only for what you use platform, and it's fully managed, completely serverless. Now there are some situations where you have some what we call this is like a cloud function. So cloud functions is you have those situations where you want to run a task or you run an event that triggered based on another event. So I might be having IoT devices, I'm collecting some messages, and I want to process that message once it's received. If it's not received, I don't want to be running any CPU and memory. So Cloud Functions is exactly that. It's a serverless function offering. So basically, you can run a task when an event happens. If the message comes, process it, hibernate. I'm not paying for anything. So pretty much another kind of offering in there, event-driven compute platform. You don't want to be running a VM 24 hours waiting for something to happen, and you are paying for that CPU and memory running all the time. So Cloud Function is another offering. Containers, like I said, different offerings. GKE that I mentioned. Google came back with another thing called Anthos. Anthos is because Kubernetes is an open source, which means I can run my containers not just on Google Cloud. I can run them into on premises. I can run them on AWS. I can run them on Azure if I wanted, on Microsoft if I wanted to. And by all means, I can create a cluster everywhere, whatever I want. But from management perspective, it's going to be very tedious to be managing clusters in different things. So from management perspective, it's not really attractive. So Google came back with this product, Anthos, that sits on the top of all your Kubernetes clusters. So you can manage all your Kubernetes clusters, wherever they are, from one single kind of pane of glass, if you wish. And Istio is an open source that uh, basically helps and facilitate the networking. It's like a service mesh that is basically the smart networking between all these clusters, wherever they are, as part of the Anthos offering. From databases perspective, again, depending on what your data is. So if you have just like blob, let's say you have images, videos, and any type of files, okay, any type of object, I would say, you can use cloud storage. So you can think of cloud storage as a, a Google Drive, but with kind of lot of sophistication to be used as an enterprise product. So it's elastic, so you can run petabytes of data on it, of object like videos and things like that, and images and things, and replication through different regions and things like that. So highly available for SQL, for transactional relational databases. You've got Cloud SQL. So Cloud SQL is another offering that, by all means, again, you can create a VM, you can install operating system, you can install the SQL version that you want, Postgres or MySQL or whatever the case might be. But Cloud SQL is it's there for you already, so you don't have to manage that. You say, I want Cloud SQL, I want this database that is SQL Server, and it gives you that package managed for you. So it will replicate, it will scale automatically for you. If there is any patching, security patches, all managed for you. Whereas if you do it yourself, there's a lot of overhead. So again, Google in Google Cloud or in the cloud in general, they want you to focus of getting value from the data. Let us manage the service for you. You focus on getting value from the data that we are storing for you. And then there is Cloud Firestore. Like I mentioned with App Engine, it was the very first offering. This is like a NoSQL database used for mobile apps, web applications, backend, and things like that. And if you want like a NoSQL offering for petabyte scale, there's another product called Bigtable. So all these tools, Google, they use internally for their service, and they provide them as cloud offering for their customers as well. Big data tools, another set of tools that are available. So again, you take BigQuery, for example. BigQuery is a managed data warehouse where you can do, again, completely serverless. So if you want to run analysis on petabyte billions of records, you try to do that on premises, you have to do a big upfront investment to be able to achieve that. BigQuery is completely serverless. You go to the Google Cloud Platform, you have just like a UI. You run your SQL code, you specify what is your data, and it do the analysis for you. Pops up another serverless product for messaging bus pretty much. So if you have like IoT devices, you have sensor data that you need to collect. Obviously, you need a messaging bus in between to collect the data, distribute it to the right destination. So pops up again. It's another serverless product in Google Cloud. So you don't have to create any, you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure, server, storage. So it's like an abstraction. You create what we call a topic, and then you send that data to topic, and it will be distributed to whichever service is wanting that data that comes through. And usually with PubSub in analytics kind of pipeline, data that is coming from different sources, usually it does come in uh, different formats. It will never be clean. It will be, you need to basically take it through a transformation. So data flow is an ETL tool, which means extract data, transform it, do kind of some transformation, and then load it to the right database service that you want, maybe one of these, when it's in the right format that you're going to be using. And then we have like Dataproc, another managed service in Google Cloud to do data transformation. This is based on Hadoop. So if you have like Hadoop on running on premises, you want to run those workloads as they are in the cloud. Dataproc is Hadoop, very compatible. You don't have to refactor anything. You don't have to rewrite anything in there. And if you are a data scientist and you use kind of Jupyter Lab and things like that, there is notebooks available managed for you in the cloud as well. When it comes to AI and machine learning, obviously there is also different things in there as well. Uh, so there are things that are already that basically available for you. So you don't have to start something from scratch. And we are using them without realizing. So if you go to YouTube, for example, there is transcribing text. So you will hear somebody talking something and you will see the text. That's machine learning. That's the what we call the an API, a pre-trained API on Google, available on Google Cloud Platform. Speech API, which is uh, speech to text and text to speech. That exactly that. Translate. You go to Google search and translate text. That's the translation API available. So you can leverage that from Google Cloud into your application. Vision API is another one that you can basically use in there to classify text, images, and things like that. And AutoML, AutoML is if you want to train, if you want to do machine learning on your own data. So Vision, the pre-trained API like Vision and speech and things like that, these are pre-trained, which means Google, they use their own data to to train those models. AutoML is something that you still don't want to write any code, and AutoML will do the training. You just provide the data and train the model on there for you. So let me just bring in the Google Cloud Console just briefly to give you a couple of examples in here, just to let me maybe start backwards here. Let me just show you the Google Cloud Vision API. So from just conscious of time, so maybe we just go for the demos and take questions. So for the Vision API, so let's say you have hundreds of images, thousands of images, and you want to classify them. You want to see what's in them. Uh, so let me, if I go to try it there. So if I bring in an image, I'm gonna do here. So here you can think of this browser that you see here as your application, and I'm basically calling the API from there. So this is an example of an image. So I'm bringing here La Tour Eiffel, and I call the image test just to show you that I'm not calling anything in there. So you can see the landmarks in here. There is this Trocadero Gardens next to La Tour Eiffel in there, Eiffel Tower, and it gives you the Google Maps in here. You can see the labels, what cloud, sky world, whatever. You can see text, any text in these images, properties, safe search. This is what's important. Okay, imagine you have like thousands of these images and you want to find out or classify them if there is any violence or adult material on them. You don't expect somebody working 8 hours just sipping through those images and trying to find if they are suitable to be put on your public kind of website or social media or anything like that. So you can classify them like this. Okay, and you can do things like let me pick up something else here. So yes, so I can pick up these are faces. Okay, I can now I can detect that there is faces in there. And notice here I can detect emotions on here. Okay. So you can bring in a lot of images. Okay. And you can detect the objects on here, person, clothing, glasses, labels, again, text, any text. So you can see here the values of things, properties. Properties here, the color coding and things. This is pretty much medical fields. You know, this dominant colors and color coding. Maybe for the scans, particular color might mean an illness of some sort. And safe search, obviously, here you can see. So really, really powerful stuff in here. But where is the limitation of this is when it comes to things like, let me put something. So if I go and I want to classify, ask the Vision API to tell me what kind of, let's say this one here. Okay, let's say I want to do weather prediction. So I'm a meteorologist. I want to predict weather, and we know like if you go to do weather prediction, it's based on the type of the cloud, Cirrus, and the different clouds. Each cloud type, it gives you like a prediction for the weather on the next day, whatever that case. So in that case, the pre-chain API doesn't give you this sort of stuff. It just tells you it's a cloud, 98% is cloud. Is it safe search or not? This kind of stuff. This is where you will have to train on your own model. So if I go to the console, I can use something like what we call auto ML. Again, without writing any piece of code, and this is what we say like the tools that differentiate me from my competitors. So in order to do a project like this, you need a machine learning engineer, a data scientist, somebody to bring in the data, collect the data, label the data, things like that. But here, somebody to code, it might take you weeks to train over and over to get the best performance of the model. But here, if I go to this here, what you will see, sorry, I'm sharing now the Google Cloud Console and the product that we're interested in, the Vertex AI. So with Vertex, what I can do, I can bring my data set. I can create a data set here. And look, all these kind of models here, they're available for me. So I can do image classification. So I can bring my own images and tell, basically give me what kind of cloud it is if I'm training on my own images in there. I can do image classification with multi-label, image detection, image segmentation. I can do things with tabular data, regression classification model, forecasting, text classification, text extraction, sentiment analysis, without writing a piece of code in here. Video, I can bring videos and do action recognition, video classification, object tracking, those kind of stuff. So an example that I want to give here that I was running is running detection of faulty parts. So this is by AutoML. So you can see here, I can, if you look at my model in here that I've run, I brought in, trained my model over some parts. Uh, and when I run this, if I go to, let me just upload an image just to give it, yes. So this is a part that I want to do prediction on. And there it is. So it's defective. 86% this part is defective by the looks of it. 13% is not defective. But if I give this image to the Vision API, for example, and I try to do that on the Vision API, the very same image, what the Vision API is going to tell me I don't know. It's a lighting, nothing to do with that. So it detected that, but it sent me it's lighting. I don't know. So because he hasn't been trained on this, okay, safe search and things a little bit medical, so he hasn't got a clue what it is. Because it's not the pre-trained API, they've been trained on images in general, not a specific field like this. So that's a little bit about auto ML and machine learning in there. But when it comes to other products that I talked about, virtual machines, so I've got a compute engine, and you can see I can create a virtual machine within seconds. So I can go and create a VM, and I can give it a name, Egypt demo, and I've got all these data centers across the globe. So I've got North America here, I've got US Central, US South, US West, Europe. I've got Finland, Madrid, Belgium, London, Frankfurt, Netherlands, Milan, Paris, and then I've got Asia Pacific, all these regions. We are seeing some regions coming very, very shortly in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Kuwait. They're gonna be coming into these big lists in there. And then you can specify like CPU and memory. Oh, sorry, I think I'm not sharing. Apologies. Sorry, this is the yeah. So this is the VMs again. So I can just new VM instance. You just give it the name, and when it comes to CPU memory, you can have a lot of selection, 32 vCPUs. If you have like something that is memory or requires a lot of memory, I can go up to 416 vCPUs, 11.5 terabyte. That is memory. This is not disk. A huge, huge amount in there. So, if you do this on-prem, it takes you a month before you order this server. But if I got like some workload that I need to run for half an hour on this VM, I can just create a VM, run this, and destroy it straight after that. So a lot of options in there, like I said. Sorry, doctor, is there a question or time is over or what?
No, I just I had a curious question.
Yeah,
I was maybe interested to have some questions before we
yeah,
go
yeah,
to the end.
yeah.
You
Go ahead.
still have a full 25 minutes. And
All
you
right.
can do lots of things.
Sure, sure, sure.
May I ask in Arabic?
Yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah, go ahead.
أنا كان سؤالي اللي فهمته من حضرتك دلوقتي إن أنا لو أنا ما عنديش آآ مهارة إن أنا أبرمج، أقدر عن طريق الcloud أعمل حاجات كتير جدًا، أقدر أعمل apps، أقدر أعمل يعني أي حاجة أتحكم فيها في الشغل بتاعي، سواء كنت شركة أو مؤسسة أو جامعة أو أيًا كان، أقدر أعمل حتى website تقريبًا.
تمام.
آآ كل ده من غير ما يكون عندي مهارة في الprogramming language مش كده؟
صحيح، صحيح. من دون ما يكون عندك مهارة في البروجرامينج ولا في الهاردوير ولا في الsetting up. آه هذا سؤال مهم جدا لأنه آه ممكن أنه أول شيء ممكن أستعمل أنه
الصوت قطع عند حضرتك.
ألو.
سامعين
السلام.
حضرتك دلوقتي، اتفضل.
أوكي، أوكي. ايه هو صحيح اللي قلت دكتور انه من دون ما يكون عندك يعني خبره في البروجرامينج او في الهاردوير او في النتورك، ممكن تنطلق بالكلاود بسرعه جدا، يعني ويب سايت او ابلكيشن او الذكاء الاصطناعي. حتى هنا عندنا هذا السيرفيس يقولوا له ماركت بليس. حتى هنا فيه ابلكيشنز ريدي يعني في الكلاود. مثلا لو احتجت تلقى هنا categorizing into advertising مثلا. ففي الادفرتايزنج عندي اشياء يقولها ادسنس هوست اي بي اي، عندي اباتشي كافكا سيرفر مثلا. فهذه لما اروح انا استعملها ما راح اعمل configuration، ما راح اكتب كود في الاباتشي ولا في الاشياء. لو اختار اي ready made solution هنا راح يعطيني السيرفيسز deployed in the cloud configured، وانا ما احتاج اعمل اي شيء، فقط اقول له اريد هذه في الكويت، اريدها في اليو اس، اريدها في يوروب. مثلا في عندي هنا ويب سيرفيس، ويب سيرفر مثلا، اروح ويب سيرفر، شوف ايش عندي choices different product. يعني هذه كلها
حاجة
راح ما
جميلة
تحتاج.
جدا يعني wizard tool.
with a tool for all services. and هذا اللي قلت لك من قبل، انه جوجل will meet you where you are whether with your يعني امكانياتك your experience. عندك يعني tool for everybody.
يعني أنا لو
و-
عايز أعين حد في الماركتينج مثلا وهيستخدم تولز من الكلاود، من جوجل كلاود، مش
مم.
محتاج ان هو يكون ان انا اطلب ان هو يبقى درس كمبيوتر ساينس. ممكن يبقى واحد كل دراسته مثلا ماركتنج، مجرد ان هو
صحيح.
ياخد مهارة ازاي يتعامل مع جوجل كلاود
بس
خلاص يقدر يعمل الحاجة.
بس تماما تماما، هذه very
يعني
very important كمان. يعني حتى في learning the learning journey it will cut a lot of time. يعني الوقت اللي راح ياخذك انك تتعلم شيء في الاون بريميسز اون سيرفر وكونفجريشن، في الكلاود راح يساعدك كثير انك يو كات ذات تايم كمان. صحيح صحيح.
يعني هي مهارة ممكن يستخدمها تقريبا في كل التخصصات.
تماما تماما. حتى we've seen في الهيلث كير، في الفارماسيوتيكالز، يعني they use this هذا البيج داتا تولز، المشين ليرنينج لما شفت هذا الاكزامبل يعني ما تعرف اي شيء في المشين ليرنينج. يعني double of clicks and you do classification of faulty
تمام.
parts. ولا الهيلث كير سكانز، يوران سكانز، تقول له what kind of illness، حتى هذا تقدر تستعمله في
جميل
الهيلث
جدا
كير كمان.
جميل. ايه رأي حضرتك نكمل الجورني مع حضرتك لمدة 10 دقايق، بعدين نفتح بقى question and answer for everyone. ايه رأيك؟
yeah sure. نعم sure.
اوكي. فخلال العشر دقايق دي يقدر كل الناس يدخلوا على كيو ان اي ويحطوا اسئلتهم عشان نبتدي نعمل عليها الاجابات ان شاء الله بعد ما نخلص. وبعد ما نبتدي
تمام
الكويشن اند انسر نقدر برضو كل واحد سأل كويشن يقول بنفسه السؤال ونتكلم معاه ونتفاعل معاه ان شاء الله. معلش
نعم.
اسف للمقاطعه دي واسف
لا لا،
لحضرتك.
معلش معلش
طبعا.
معلش. اهلا وسهلا، مفيده جدا مفيده جدا. شكرا دكتور. خلاص أول أعمل two demos. BigQuery is one of the biggest tool out there that doesn't require anything. So if I go to BigQuery مثلا، آخذ BigQuery. خليني أروح للBigQuery. فالBigQuery قلت لك إنه serverless which means يعني ما أحتاج إني يعني create servers، أختار السي بي يو memory والديسك والسايز وكل هذه الأشياء، أو أعمل analysis تبعي. فهنا اخذ مثلا كويري ان سيكول. خليني اشوف ايش عندي هنا في هذه. اوبن هذه last query that I ran. وهنا عندي الداتا سيت. الداتا سيت هي يعني الداتا تبعي اللي اريد اعمل عليها اناليسيس. وهنا نشوف انه البيج كويري مثلا، هنا هذه الداتا سيت تبعي راح تكون في الجانب، والتيبلز. هذه يقولها داتا سيت، وهذه التيبلز. فهنا عندي هذا الداتا سيت which is ويكيبيديا داتا. والبيكيتا داتا فيها اللانجوج والتايتل والنمبر اوف فيوز for a particular title. وهنا راح نديروا يعني filtering في التايتلز اللي فيها جوجل، الكلمه جوجل. فلو نشوف هذا الداتا سيت مثلا، هنا عندي هذه هي السكيما تبعها، فيها اليير، المانث، الداي، اللانجوج. لو اشوف هنا السايز، عندي هنا 125 مليون داتا بوينتس. والسايز هنا 8.4 جيجا بايت، السايز تبع التيبل اللي راح نعمل له الكويري. فهنا لما I run this query اشوف كم الوقت اللي راح ياخذ لي. مثلا هنا 1 second 1 second خلصت مع الكويري هذه. ممكن واحد يقول 100 مليون يعني is no big deal، يعني ممكن نسويها هذه في خليني اروح ل 10 بليون مثلا، من 100 مليون ل 10 بليون. فهذا لو شوف الداتا سيت تبعي هنا نعم. فهذا هو الداتا سيت. يشوف الديتيلز هنا عندي 10.5 billion records، وعندي the size of the table 692 جيجا. فهنا الأولى كانت 100 مليون وأخذت لي 1 second. خلينا نشوف هذه كم راح ياخذ لي الوقت يعطيني نتيجة من هذا الأناليسيس. فهذه النتيجة تبعي اللانجويج التايتل والنمبر اوف فيوز، وبعدين execution details 4 seconds. يعني انا اعطيت السكيلينج تاع 100 times، يعني لو واحد يشوف يقول راح تاخذ 100 100 seconds، بس هنا 4 seconds، لانه الباور السكيلينج اللي يعطيها لي الجوجل كلاود في البيكويري huge. It's immense. It's very very efficient. But 4 seconds to query 10 billion records, big massive deal. I can data. نشوف هنا الداتا سيت هذا. فهذا في table size 6.7 terabytes التيبل بس، والنمبر اوف ريكوردز 106 بليون ريكوردز. خلينا نشوف هذه عملنا سكيلينج اب، خلينا نشوف كم راح ياخذ الوقت. فالبيج كويري the infrastructure تبعه من تحت هي سيرفرز وستورج. اوكي وكل مره راح يغير لي راح يعمل لي سكيلينج على النمبر تاع السيرفرز اللي نحتاج باش نخلص العمليه في هذا. فهنا اخذ مني 15 seconds. ولو تشوف هنا سلوت تايم 18 hours. هذا وش يعني؟ هذا يعني انه لو اردت اني ارن اسوي هذه العمليه على 1 سيرفر فقط بالكلاستر راح ياخذ لي 18 ساعه تقريبا، 19 ساعه تقريبا، 18 وشويه. فهنا راح يعطيني الريسورسز حتى اخلص العمليه في 15 seconds. لو كنت اون بريميسز مستحيل راح تسوي هذه العمليه في 15 ثانيه. فالبيج كويري another tool really powerful. Another tool here الداتا بروك اللي هو الهادوب. الداتا بروك انا اشتغلت فيها الاون بريم من قبل. الداتا بروك هو بيس على مثل ما قلت الهادوب. الهادوب هو كلاستر، you have a master node you have worker nodes. Very difficult to configure. So it's not something easy. ولما انتقلت واستعملت الداتا بروك في الجوجل كلاود، اول شيء راح تشوفه يقول لك اسوي لك الداتا بروك كلاستر في دقيقه و90 ثانيه، 30 ثانيه، أو اقل من دقيقتين. لو تروح تعامله وحدك يعني بالفي امز وكل شيء راح ياخذ لك يومين 3 ايام، ساعات لو يعني تعرف عندك الخبره وعندك ستورج نولج والنتوركينج وكل شيء. هنا يعني اروح انا اعمل على الكمبيوت انجن، راح تعطي له the name you select a data center في whatever US Europe whatever, and you do some configuration, extra configuration if you want. بس الفكرة انه هنا within CPU memory تاع النودز. الفكرة هنا انك تستطيع ان تعمل كلاستر for اقل من دقيقتين. انا لما شفت هذا الدوكيومنتيشن بتاع الداتا برو قبل ما استعمله شوف دقيقتين، قلت هذا مستحيل انه تسويه، بس لما استعملته دقيقتين راح تخلص داتا برو كلاستر. is amazing is insane. لما نشوف هنا الانفراستراكشر بتاع الجوجل كلاود، لو تروح الجوجل كلاود، الجوجل كلاود لوكيشن، هذه another Google Cloud location while we're waiting for the. فهذا اللي كنت أقول عليه من قبل، أنه the infrastructure is distributed globally، هي متوزعة على 35 regions geographical location across the globe and they are connected through this network. هنا شوف لما تشوف regions والzones، هنا لما فيها الدوحة وفيها الدمام، هذه راح تنطق جوهانسبرغ، وكمان آخر شهر قالوا أنه الكويت راح يكون عندها ريجن. فهذه كلها أنا لو أريد يعني داتا بروك في أوريغون فور إكزامبل مثلا، أنا في إيجيبت وراح يكون عندي كلاستر في يوروب أو في أستراليا أو. فهنا هذا الكلاستر لو نشوفه لما يخلص، فهذه الفكرة أنه the resources are available everywhere. خلاص يعني خلصت. My cluster is ready. I can go in and I can just run my jobs directly from here. Oh, like a wizard. Specify what is my code I want to run, submit it. خلاص finished. And I have all the monitoring موجودة هنا. One question that came، سؤال يطرح نفسه أنه كيف يعني عندي VMs في أماكن مختلفة، كيف راح يكون الليتنسي من ناحية السرعة؟ بعطيكم مثال هنا فقط حتى أخلص وأفتح الباب للأسئلة. هنا عندي VM مثلا، هنا عندي في يوروب ويست 4، هذه في هولندا نذرلاندز، وعندي يوروب ويست 1 هذه في بلجيكا. فتخيل أنه عندك الله يحفظنا من الزلازل وكل شيء مثل ما رانا نشوفه، تخيل أنك you lost all the region، خلاص راحت لك اليوروب ويست 4. فوتلاحظ هنا لو أروح هنا أعمل اللوجين للمشين هذه واحاول اشوف الليتنسي من بلجيوم للنذرلاندز، واللي تلاحظوا انه لما ادخل هنا على الفي ام وانا هنا جالس في دبي ومشين تبعي راهي في كل مكان، لاحظ. فهذه هي الفكرة، انه الكلاود فوائد الكلاود انك في اي مكان راح تكون you can access your application your resources. فالآن أنا عندي نشوف فالآن دخلت على الفي ام تبعي هنا، لو أعمل عندك البينج للديمو 02 اللي هو في بلجيكا، ولاحظ الليتنسي 7 ملي سكند. 7 ملي سكند يعني سب 10 ملي سكند. يعني لو صار شيء في الفي ام تبعي في هولندا واعمل فيل اوفر راح يكون اقل من 10 ملي سكند. يعني اليوزرز they want حتى ما يشعروا حتى انه صار اي شيء للابلكيشن تبعك كلها. ولا لو كنت انت في اون بريميسز في الداتا سنترز يصير لك فيل اوفر راح ياخذ ممكن ساعتين، يعني عندك بروسيس، عندك اوتوميشن، عندك نتوركينج بيس، very big latency هناك. فهنا 7 ملي سكند ولا شيء، لا حتى لا تلاحظ انه صار اي شيء. كان بودي تكون سيشن اطول ويا كفر ماني اشياء ثانيه بس براكتسز وبرايسنج واشياء اخرى.
ما هو ده حياتك اللي يخلينا نرجع لحياتك تاني في لقاءات تانية في المستقبل،
ان شاء
او
الله.
نحضر عندك في
اهلا وسهلا.
جيلي فيش صح؟
اهلا
جيلي
وسهلا.
فيش
نعم.
تريننج.
نعم.
هل حضرتك تقدر تشاركنا مثلا كونتاكت داتا مثلا ازاي نلاقي جيلي فيش؟ أو نتواصل مثلًا
ايه اكيد
معاهم؟
اكيد. فعندي انا اللينكدين اكونت تبعي، وكاين اللينكدين اكونت تبع الجيلي فيش، خليني اشاركه، والويب سايت تبع الجيلي فيش.
تمام. إحنا معانا سؤال من
نعم.
الأخ الكريم الأستاذ أو المهندس أحمد أيمن أبو العينين رزق. تقدر حضرتك تشغّل المايك يا أستاذ أحمد، تسأل السؤال بنفسك، نكون شاكرين.
تمام، شكرا جدا لحضرتك يا دكتور. حاليا طالب في آخر سمستر عندي في كلية هندسة جامعة القاهرة، Electrical Energy Engineering Program. مشروع تخرجي اي او تي، ويعتبر انا اتجاهي رايح ناحيه الامبيدد سيستمز والاي او تي وكده.
يعني
فحبيت يعني انتهز الفرصه واسال
ممتاز.
حضراتكم. شكرا جزيلا. حبيت اسال حضراتكم ايه اللي ممكن يعني الابروش الاصح او النصايح اللي ممكن اخدها علشان ابدا اتعلم كلاود بطريقه صح، وابدا استخدم التولز الموجوده والماشين انتليجنس عشان ابدا انكلود يعني انكلود الجزء ده في الاي او تي. طبعا هو تراك طويل ممكن استفيد منه، والامبيدد سيستمز في الابلكيشنز بتاعتي عشان برضه ابقى جاهز لما بعد ذلك في التخرج لسوق العمل.
مم.
لو في حاجة واضحة مش واضحة في السؤال I can repeat
ده
it in English
هو ده
if it will help.
هو ده تفكير جميل جدًا، إن أنت ما تستناش لحد ما تتخرّج، تيجي تستعد من
مم.
قبل ما تتخرّج، إن أنت تبقى جاهز بالcompetencies اللازمة لسه. اتفضل دكتور نبيل.
لا لا، واصل واصل دكتور، واصل، تفضل. ايه.
يعني أنا ما عنديش إجابة السؤال يعني، فحضرتك يعني إذا تفضلت بالإجابة أكون شاكر
نعم
جدًا.
نعم نعم، شكرا شكرا دكتور. لا، سؤال مهم جدا. وفيه ناحيتين. الناحية أنه للطلبة للريسيرشرز، كلاود يعني راح يسهل لك أشياء كثيرة في الريسيرش تبعك. يعني مثل ما كنا نقولوا أنه في الشركات، ولا اشتغل في شركة، أنا my focus is the result at the end of the day. مثلا أنت لما تروح وتقدم البروجكت تبعك تاع آخر دراسات، فواحد راح يقول لك إيش هو التول اللي استعملته. أنا أعطيني الانوفيشن اللي جبتها لي، وات از ذا اد فاليو اللي قدمتها. فانت الوقت هذاك اللي كنت يعني تتعب فيه مع الهاردوير، مع السيرفيس، فيه تولز في الكلاود راح يسهلوا لك المهمه هذه. من تجربتي الخاصه، انا مثلا لما كنت اسوي البي اتش دي، هذه القصص الهادوب والبيج داتا اناليسيس، ابتديت في الاون بريم، وتعبتني كثير صراحه. لما انتقلت للكلاود، بكويري داتا اناليسيس سكندز، شفت عندي 10 بليون ريكوردز، اعطيني الريزولت في 5 سكندز. ذيس از اميزنج. تروح تعملها في اون بريم، تروح للجامعه يقول له اعطيني بيج سيرفيس، راح يقول لك ما عندناش الفلوس، روح سوي وحدك. ساعات، ويكس. داتا بروك الهادوب انا اخذني 3 اشهر ونصف حتى اسوي كلاستر واتعلم الهادوب. دقيقتين، تخيل، دقيقتين عندك هادوب كلاستر، عندك يو ران يور اناليسيس فور distributed computing within 1 week. خلاص خلصت الاناليسيس تبعي في الهادوب. فانا الفوكس هو الريسيرش، الايديا. نفس الشيء لما انت تكون في الجامعه، you want to leverage cloud tools. الان ايش هو الكلاود تول اللي راح استعمله؟ من البروفايدر اللي اروح معه. هنا لازم اكون شويه انتليجنت. يعني لما ابغى انا افكر على المدى الطويل، مش فقط في البروجكت تبعي، لاني راح I'm going to invest time to learn. الان في الميدل ايست، ولا في يوروب، ولا في اليو اس، تشوف انت ما هو الكلاود بروفايدر اللي راح معه. راح تدرس الماركت، وراه الديماند في الماركت. حاليا the big demand in the market is Google Cloud، لانه السكيلز ما موجوده. الاي دبليو اس كان عنده مده طويله في الميدل ايست، الازيور مده طويله في الميدل ايست، فالسكيل سيت از اوريدي ذير. لكن في الجوجل كلاود الناس راح تحتاج الجوجل كلاود. فانا استغل هذا، يعني اضرب عصفورين بحجر. استعمل التولز في الاي او تي موجوده، البوبس اب في المسجنج في الجوجل كلاود، في الستريمينج في الجوجل كلاود موجوده وسهله وتتعلمها بسيطه. فاهم؟ وبعدين استغل هذا
آمم
to build my skills يعني ready for the market later on.
لو تسمح لي دكتور نبيل، لو هو عايز بقى ياخد الكورسات ويبتدي يعمل لنفسه plan بقى training plan،
مم.
يعني يبتدي مثلًا منين، أو ياخد إيه وبعدين إيه وبعدين إيه عشان يبقى عنده الskills بتاعة الcloud.
ايه
جوجل كلاود.
ممتاز. اوكي سو في الجوجل كلاود مثلا راح تبدا من الجوجل كلاود اسوسييت. سو let me share here Google Cloud certifications. فهنا وين راح نبدا؟ راح نبدا الجوجل كلاود سيرتيفيكيشن. لو تلاحظ هنا هنا راح نبدا بالكلاود انجينير. راح understand fundamentals of Google Cloud, deploying application, monitoring operations, managing all this experience. راح ابدا هنا، وبعدين لما اخلص هذا التراك راح اروح الاركيتكت مثلا، اروح للنتوركينج على حسب my vision for my future. لكن هذا هو البدايه، هذه كلاود انجينير. البدايه راح تكون هنا. خليني اعمل شير هنا. فهذه هي البدايه، بعدين تروح على حسب انت داتا، ماشين ليرنينج، سكيورتي، نتوركينج. بس البيسس هو اللي تبدا فيه هو الاسوسييت كلاود انجينير. فخليني اعمل شير. مش عارف، ما عنديش تشات ويندو، مش عارف.
هي فعلا مشكله ان الشات للجاست غير متوافر
ما
في
اوكي
هذا الاكونت.
خلاص دكتور، لو
انما
تشارك معي
حضرتك
لينك، ممكن
انما
يشارك اللينك
حضرتك
دي
انا
على
اقدر
الاكونت تبعي.
نعم
او اشارك
فاللينك
معك. خليني اشاركها معك، اشاركها معك في الشات تبع اللينكدين هنا.
انا هحط اللينكد ان في حضرتك حاجه.
وحطيت لك تمام هي اللينك تبع هذا.
تمام.
if I may
اعتذر
معلش
لهذا
يعني
التقصير.
عشان بعتذر برضه لو اتكلمت فجأة، بس أنا كنت عايز elaborate يعني conclusion السؤال يعني. بشكر حضراتكم هنا على الردود وطبعا ال guidance. To elaborate, it is better to learn the tools or the services that are available rather than starting from scratch and starting from learning like machine learning concepts and the cloud engineering concepts. Since my background is electrical engineer, did I get that right? From your answer or
So
from your question?
yeah, so the ACE, the Associate Cloud Engineer certification that I talked about, it will take you through the fundamentals of the cloud itself, and then it will take you to the tools after that. And then what you will notice in Google Cloud is the tools are going from foundation till the more expert. So sometimes you have tools ready-made, like I showed you AutoML, for example. But in some situation, you want something more complex, then you need to learn the machine learning, coding, TensorFlow, things like that.
Appreciate your line and guidance very much, really. Thank you, Doctor.
You're very welcome. أي سؤال تاني؟
في اتنين عندهم سؤال.
Yeah.
يتفضلوا يشاركونا. مش عارف مين فيهم الأول. نقول مثلا الأخ وائل. اتفضل يا وائل هادي.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام
وعليكم
ورحمة الله
السلام.
وبركاته.
أنا كنت أحب أسأل المهندس بشأن الفري تير في الجوجل كلاود، وكيف نستفيد منه كطلاب، وأيضا كيف يتم تحديثه إلى يعني باقات أكبر بسعر أقل واقتصادي، خاصة إذا كان لدينا بروجكت لمدة 6 أشهر إلى نفترض إلى سنة بالكامل للطلاب. وكيف نستفيد بالفري تير؟ كيف نكون ميزانيتنا محدودة؟ يعني مثلا أنا إذا حددت $50 مثلا في كميزانية، هل بإمكاني أن أشغل هذا الفري تير بالإضافة إلى بعض الخدمات التي تتجاوز مثلا الساعة؟ لأنه في الفري تير هناك ساعة محدودة.
ايه صحيح. هذا كان وائل صح؟ فهو في شيئين هنا. فيه what we call the Google Cloud free account to start with. فالفري account يعطي لك $300 for 3 months. فعندك طريقتين هنا. عندك يا اما يكون عندك 2 credit cards تعمل 3 months وتعمل بعدين 3 months، لكن لازم تكون لازمك تكون شويه يعني intelligent how to use the resources. مثلا لما if you create مثلا virtual machine وراح تستعملها for a couple of hours, shut it down. ما تخليها تمشي. shut it down so you're not consuming. ما تخليها تمشي all the time when you're not using it. Any services that you don't use, shut them down, delete them, create them later on, things like that. So try to be يعني know how to use these resources. You know, when you're not using them, don't let them running pretty much. The second thing is مثل ما حضرتك قلت انه all the services they got free tier, which means, for example, if I take BigQuery, for example, BigQuery's got they charge for when you run a query, they charge $5 per terabyte, but they give you, I think, 5 terabytes free tier per month. فممكن استغل هذا. let me, there is a list of all the products, the free tier available for them. So هنا عندك الفري ترايل اللي هو $300 اللي هو هذا. ممكن استغل هذا $300 free credit for new customers. You need to run it for 3 months. وبعدين عندك each product has got its own usage. So تستغل انت المينيمم هذا per month. تحاول انك تكون within. فممكن تستعمل pops up 10 gigabyte message per month are free. Cloud function 2 million invocation per month are free. Vision API 1000 units per month. Firestore 1 gigabyte. فلما تصير عندك مثلا demos والاشياء مثل هذه or proof of concept, try to be within these limits, so you're not spending your credits there. So have a look at that. I've seen a couple of people running full websites, small websites for free on Google Cloud, just leveraging this kind of options here. دكتور بحط لك هذه في الشات تبع اللينكدين وتعمل لها شير مثلا. واضح الجواب وائل؟
نعم واضح، شكرا لك.
وبعدين الشيء الثاني انه for practice you have the skill boost, and for the skill boost لو انت مع الجي دي جي جروب مثلا عندهم هذه البرامج تاع certification journey واللي يعطي لك skill boost for free for 6 months. فلو تشوف الجي دي جي جروب في مصر اعتقد فيه كثير هناك. فحاليا فيه برنامج تاع certification journey 6 weeks راح يعطي لك skill boost access for free for 6 months وتروح تعمل لابز وتعمل بس هذوك for quick labs ما تقدر تعمل اشياء لوحدك. بس تعطي لي يعني hands on the skills boost pass for free for 6 months. It's amazing.
انا بعتذر
ممكن
للجميع بعتذر للجميع ان الشات مش شغال. فاي سؤال عايز تحطه يا ريت الكل يقدر يحطه في الكيو ان اي. هنلاقي بوتن كده جنب
نعم في
الزراير
صحيح.
كيو ان اي. كان استاذ وائل عايز تكمل سؤالك بحاجه ثانيه؟
فيما يخص المقارنة ما بين ال AWS الخاصة بأمازون وجوجل، هناك بعض الخدمات مثل الفري في بي ان مثلا، فري في بي ان سيرفر الموجود مثلا في امازون. عندما يتم مقارنته مثلا مع جوجل تكون الخدمة مجانية، لكن بعد الاستخدام يفاجأ الشخص بوجود فواتير كبيرة جدا، احيانا بتكون بحدود $20 او $50. فما هي المشكلة بالضبط؟ يعني لو في هناك توضيح بسيط.
المشكلة عادة هذه دائما نشوفها انه في الايجرس الفي بي ان ممكن فري، لكن الداتا اللي تروح من وان ريجن للنذر ريجن، لو انت في نفس ريجن ما راح تشوف كثير الكوست على الايجرس. بس لو عندك انت تو ريجنز في اليو اس وفور يوروب وعندك داتا ترافيك، الايجرس دائما يكون فيه كوست حتى في الامازون ولا في اي كلاود بروفايدر. خذ بالك من نتورك ايجرس، the egress cost, the data traffic, more service the VPN itself, but the traffic, the data that's going from multiple regions. That might be the reason.
في سؤال آخر من المهندس محمد. see. محمد توفيق. أستاذ محمد اتفضل، شاركنا الحوار، لو تقدر تشغل المايك وتسأل السؤال بنفسك. أستاذ محمد هل سامعني؟ يمكن دوس بس الزرار
Hello,
بتاع
hello, how are
المايك.
you?
هاي.
First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity for this workshop, and I have just posted a few questions regarding the Google Cloud exam certification to the dear instructor in order to to clarify generally the process to get the cloud certification. And thank you.
Yes, the first question was how to proceed in order to prepare and revise for the Google Cloud exam certification test. Second question, where we should start in order to get it. In order to get
Okay.
it.
Yeah, good question. So any certification you want on Google Cloud, your first reference is the certification official page of Google Cloud, and in here you will find all the certifications. For technical perspective, you start with the cloud engineer, like I said, and then later on you can do other tracks depending on what your aim is, what your learning path you want to follow. Where do I link these skills? There is the Skills Boost website. So you go to the Skills School website. This is what I was saying. If you are with GDG Group, try to find a GDG Group that have the certification journey program that is running for a few months now, that they're starting. They give you access to Skill Boost for free for 6 months. So if I go, for example, Skills Boost, let me log into that. So what does the Skills Boost process? So it's cloudskillsboost.google. So in here, you can go to the catalog or the paths. First of all, I need to go to. I want to go to the catalog first to do a search for what I want. So I go to Explore. So under Explore, let me just, it's gonna open now. Yeah, here. So here, for example, I'm interested to, obviously, you want to learn anything, it's gonna say here. You have quests, which are like practice labs, but also you have courses. So if I'm interested in certification, I'll go, for example, Google Cloud Associate. Engineer. What does that give me?
Just meanwhile, I apologize that I moved to Egypt, enthusiastic about that today for 2 weeks during the event. But Ramadan is coming, and it's a social habit to celebrate it by fireworks. So sorry about the noise and from the street.
Yeah, here. Let me see, certification. There are some courses here. There you go. Yeah, here, getting started with certification. No, not this one, sorry. Preparing, for example, for professional cloud security, architect, this kind of stuff. So this one here, for example, getting started with Google Cloud learning path. Or let me look at, for example, you should have ACE as well, Cloud Associate Engineer. But here, if I take, for example, this Cloud Architect, this is a course, preparing for the course, for the Architect certification, for example. Here it tells me what courses I need to take, so I can enroll into this course, and it gives me all the courses that I need to follow online to prepare for the exam, the steps and everything. So pretty much Cloud Skills Boost is your, so the certification official page of Google Cloud, and then the Skills Boost to prepare for any certification from there.
I'm sorry for the audience that we have to go to an end. Any questions that were asked and not answered during the session of today, we will put it on the LinkedIn in the event page. And please, if you have more questions later, put it also on the page, and we will try our best to answer. لو حد عنده أي سؤال يقدر يحطه في الإيفنت بعد ما نخلص. أنا أحب أعمل conclusion في الكلام اللي اتقال. أنا طبعا منبهر بإمكانيات جوجل كلاود. أنا كنت منبهر بيها قبل ما أتواصل مع حضرتك، ودلوقتي انبهرت بيها أكتر وأكتر. و mentioning the question بخصوص السؤال هل جوجل ولا أمازون ولا مايكروسوفت، أنا سعيد جدا بالكومبيتيشن ما بين كل هذه الشركات في مجال الاي اي، واعتقد دي دايفرستي يعني كبيره جدا تخدم كل العملاء حوالين العالم. فاتمنى في يوم من الايام competition and cooperation at the same time. يعني نشوف ايه اللي ممكن يحصل في المستقبل بتاع الاي اي. احب اسال حضرتك سؤال اخير على موضوعين مهمين، احب اخد رايك فيهم، خصوصا انها اتذكرت في الاسئله: السكيورتي، سايبر سكيورتي، والفيرتشوال رياليتي. هل حضرتك شايف ليهم تطبيقات في الجوجل كلاود؟ او احب برضه حضرتك تلفت النظر للمجتمع العربي باهميه الاثنين دول في الايام الجايه، اللي هي السكيورتي والفيرتشوال رياليتي.
نعم نعم نعم. يا حقيقة السكيورتي كانت من أول مهمة، تبقى مهمة وراح تبقى مهمة للأبد. فالاختلاف هو أنه في الكلاود لو تلاحظ أنه السكيورتي most of the security أكثر السكيورتي aspects in the cloud هي مهمة الكلاود بروفايدر AWS ولا المايكروسوفت، لأنه هما السيرفيس هذو وين راح يكونوا؟ راح يكونوا في داتا سنترز، وهذوك الداتا سنترز لازم تكون سكيورتيهم توب نوتش. فهما they spend a lot of money to secure the data centers. and ممكن الناس تقول شفنا في النيوز انه data leaked from AWS data leaked. لو تلاحظ، لو تروح للديتيلز تبع هذا الانسيدنت راح تلقى انه العملاء اللي استعملوا الكلاود في هذا الاخر ما كان عندهم الخبره كيف يستعملوا هذا التول. والا هي السكيورتي ما راح، اي شركه ما راح تقدر تنافس الجوجل ولا الاي دبليو اس تو سكيور ذا داتا سنتر مثل ما هم، لانهم هم عندهم اوديترز، عندهم كومبلاينس، وعندهم الامكانيات حتى يعملهم سكيور، حتى تكون بابليك كلاود. مش سهله انك تكون بابليك كلاود بروفايدر، لازم تكون عندك سكيورتي فيري فيري هاي. فهذا الانسيدنتس اللي شفناهم هذه lack of skills، شايف؟ فهذا والسكيورتي الان مش معناتها انه الكلاود بروفايدر مع السكيورتي معناتها السكيورتي خلاص مو امبورتنت. لا، المايند سيت از ديفرنت. we need to look at security from different aspects from cloud provider aspect. وهذا اللي لازم نعرف التولز كيف نعمل my resources secure in the cloud. فهذا مهم جدا. في وش السؤال الثاني دكتور؟
هل في مثلا الفيرتشوال رياليتي ممكن نشوف
الكلاود
حاجات تدعمها لو مثلا حد عايز يعمل تطبيق الفيرتشوال رياليتي في العوامل القادمه؟
والله يا دكتور الفيرتشوال رياليتي مش الدومين تبعي but نشوف يعني one
تمام.
of the aspect of the future and the cloud obviously is going to be the driver for this for there's no doubt about this.
أنا شاكر لحضرتك جدا، ويعني سعدت بمعرفة حضرتك وسعدت بلقائك.
وانا
إن شاء
اسعد يا
الله تكون
دكتور
البداية.
ومصر تبقى في القلب دائما وابدا. وشكرا
ألف
شكرا
شكر.
شكرا جزيلا للاستضافة، وإن شاء الله راح تكون معنا نكونوا في يعني هيكاثونز آخرين ودورات أخرى إن شاء الله بإذن الله في
إن
المستقبل.
شاء الله. وحضرتك برضو تستضيف الأودينس بتاعنا في جيلي فيش، علشان
إن
تبقى
شاء الله.
الاستفادة دايما أعم وأكبر يعني.
إن شاء الله. شكرا يا دكتور، شكرا.
ألف شكر لحضرتك.
شكرا. يلا، السلام عليكم
ألف
ورحمة الله
شكر،
وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.